Dang. Oh, Brian's here. Wonderful. So yes, Oleg received his monkey's paw, as well as, along with murder being a completely, really useless in combat and, just kind of like a pet. You guys now have a pet bearded dragon that sits on top of Oleg's bald head, and just likes to lick his head.
Yeah.
I just kind of
Also,
look
his
at
name
Oleg and
is-
give him the nod.
Did we say his name was Felix? If I recall.
Yeah.
No, I
Yes?
think you called
right?
him Licky.
I
Or
did
something.
not.
Oh, it
call
was
him Licky.
Felix.
No,
Was
it
it
was
Felix?
Felix.
I
Okay.
know it wasn't Licky.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was Felix.
All right.
Although licks short would work.
What are you trying to get a licky from it? Like,
But-
what the fuck?
No. I'm just saying though, it would technically work verbally.
It would, yes. All right, so once Brian gives me the go ahead on the recording and all that, I am going to. We're going to start doing Erky's thing. Does anyone have any questions or anything before we start? Anything anyone wants to bring up? Now's the time. Awesome. Brian, how are we looking?
I'm good.
Brian's not responding, so I'll assume I have time to pee. Oh, he's good to go. Never mind. I see the ellipses now. Sorry, Brian. Thank you. I don't have time to pee. All right. I'll hold it in. Makes for better DMing. All that tightness. Anyway, so anyway, shut up. Anyway, so
I could have gone without that.
I am also going to request. I do, because Discord does show me that at least two of you are playing games right now. Please be paying attention. You know how I am about it. I don't care if you're doing something to curb your ADHD a little bit, but just, please and thank you. All right. So, Erky, as the others walk out, they were kind of told to wait and see if they could go help anyone around the camp. And as they walk out, you begin to the others sort of look at you, especially after your comment, and your dirtying of his shiny breastplate.
He didn't. He was too angry to notice. I remember that.
He was, so he hasn't noticed. But King Mauermark is a little grumbly, and everyone seems to have high tensions since King Mauermark pulled the treaty card, obviously. And so, as you stay, they asked finally, after staying silent for a little bit, the Leonin, the land general, who I have to pull up my notes, unless someone else wrote down his name for me, so I don't have to go scrubbing through my shit.
Oh boy, hold on. Let me pull him up. I got a lot.
I didn't think I'd ever forget his name, considering I killed
Descon.
him, but I have.
That's right, he's Descon.
Yeah.
Des, short for Desmond. Yes, Desmond Khan.
Descon. Yeah.
Yep. So, okay. So, so General Khan, looks at you and he sort of gives a growl, but it's a natural growl, as if it's part of his voice. And he says, like it or not, little goblin, you're here on behalf. You're the highest ranking Adventurers Guild associate we've got. So, what's their take on it? I'm sure you've heard some chatter of what's going on.
Man, that sucks for you that I'm like all you got. Josh, have I heard any chatter? I do say that first part out loud.
You have heard roll history to see if you can recall anything.
History. 15.
Okay. You don't recall over the last few officers meetings, as well as hearing stuff in like a few of the unique officer and exclusive places Erky has access to, that you are aware of, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I told you about those. Among your travels over the last couple weeks, you haven't heard anything that would relate to a dragon, because that's obviously insanity, right? Who would have any news relating to that until now? But you do recall, seem to recall something of you. You're not sure if it was just you are a little more wary about it lately, and you just happen to notice it, or if it's always been this way, or if it is something. But you do recall there's been a very strange uptick in sorry, I'm looking at a thing. There's been a very strange uptick in. That's weird. There's been a strange uptick in missing nobility, in like more than the usual noble going on a bender and leaving for a couple days in the capital of Aldea, as well as that there has been severe cold fronts at the southern, more severe cold fronts at the southern part of Norvik, which is very rare, as it is normally a very tundra-y climate. It's not normally freezing there per se, and the weather shouldn't be like that. But it was mostly chalked up to a lot of like something going on with magic at the college. Other than that, there hasn't been any real news or chatter among contacts of strange happenings.
Okay, I would just relay all of that then.
So as you look, they all sort of like kind of look at each other, and no one says anything. And then General Khan looks at you, and he looks at you, and he gets a squint in his eye, and he, as if he's studying you, and he goes, "Adventurers Guild, just as useless as it usually is." And he sort of waves you off to leave the tent.
Before that, I did want to do something. That look they all shared. Could I do an insight check with the goal of seeing is that any indication that they know more about the information I just provided?
Sure, you can.
Nah, I don't know shit. That's 5.
Nope. Not a clue.
Okay.
It could just be a look of what's going on. It could have been something you have no idea.
So Erky does leave very quietly, very against Erky's demeanor normally, and that is because she has put shit within that man's boots, and so she's gonna go now.
God.
So
Okay.
he probably won't know until he takes a step and it's a weird squelch. But probably got until then.
I'm not sure I recall you putting shit in his boots. Do I need to? Are you just
No,
saying you've done that? And
I'm saying that the reason Erky is so weirdly quiet is because she was actively doing that.
I see. Roll.
I mean, it's just prestidigitation.
There would be a stealth
So,
check involved to hide it.
Are you
Here's
soiling
the thing.
his boots or his socks?
Ooh, I'm soiling his socks. Good call.
Oh my God,
'Cause
he's evil.
You said shit in his boots, but
No. You're right. If you'll allow me to
you
change
get
it, I
to
will
choose
change
one.
it to socks.
Then his His socks are like, you ever had like just wet sweat sock, right? And then like you take them off and you let them sit for a minute and they get all crusty. Yeah, he's walking around with those now.
Love
Are
that.
you sure you don't worship Malar?
I haven't like verbalized
Malar
anyone I
would
worship.
fear them right now.
So
Malar should fear me
as
now.
as you walk out, Erky, make a, let's say, a dexterity saving throw for me.
I'm gonna be using Tides of Chaos to give me advantage on that. That's not much
Okay.
better.
So you go to walk out, and you sort of look back, and then you look forward again, and you notice that standing sort of in a line outside the tent is the rest of the party, and you just sort of like bump your forehead into Jaeger's hard metal ass, and sort of step back, and I need you to take a single point of bludgeoning damage for me.
Yo, what's the holdup, Tin Bro?
And you guys are just now coming to. You're just now realizing where you are. And as was said at the end of last session, Oleg, you suddenly have the monkey's paw in your hand, as well as a bearded dragon on your head, licking your bald head.
And a bioluminescent moss cape.
Oh yeah,
Oh
the
right,
moss
the
cape.
cape. That's
The algae
cool.
cape, yeah.
Yeah,
Very cool.
That cape is so badass.
dude, it's so cool.
It's literally.
it has to look
I'm
cool.
just clarifying. You guys know it's just like glow algae that is always damp.
Hey, even
Yeah.
for aesthetic values, it's badass.
Hey, you know what? If I get hot, I get to cool down.
There you go.
That's true. Sure, we'll say mechanically, if you end up going into like a desert or something, you will never be. You can't die of heat stroke most of the time.
Most of the time.
You know,
Most of the time.
That- understandable. Yeah, that makes
Listen,
yeah.
there are still things much hotter than a desert sun in Fantasyland, like
Yeah, you're right,
Hellfire.
you're right.
So
I get
A
you.
driving fire.
Also,
if
Josh,
you guys decide to walk in Avernus, I can't guarantee.
I've
your
been
safety.
meaning to ask, but it hasn't
Yes.
come up because I haven't used Tides of Chaos yet. Normally after I use that, or no, ignore me.
Wild magic.
I'm misreading how my wild magic works.
But
We'll
I
chat
thought
later.
You were right.
Nothing vitally important. Well,
Just
I am
focus.
right, sort of.
Remind me when you roll on the wild magic table, please.
It'll just be next time I cast a spell. First level
It is,
spell,
okay.
anyways.
That's what I thought, but got it.
I thought it was whenever the DM said. I didn't know it was every time.
I think it is No, it is. The DM can have you roll. So really, it's up to you, Josh.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
doesn't need to do it every
It-
time. That would be ridiculous.
I
You
would
used to do it
prefer
after every
to do
battle.
it every
Right.
time, honestly.
Really?
Yeah,
Turns into a
I'm
flower.
here for the chaos. But there's some stupid shit in the wild magic table, which is
Yeah,
why I was
I
like,
know.
Here's the thing. Here's
I
the
may
thing,
be a
guys.
few additions. Maybe a few additions out of date, but I
Okay.
think the only time you have to roll it every time you cast is inside a wild magic zone.
yeah,
No, that was probably. Oh, but yeah. you're
Wild
right,
magic
probably,
zones don't
yeah.
exist in 5e.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Well, then there we go. So you don't have to roll every time, no matter what.
Correct. But you would be correct, Matt. But yes, no, not in this case. But yeah, anyway.
But if I'm honest, that is
plus,
something
I'm
I
also
wanted to
just
talk
gonna
about.
say,
Turkey could always
I
admit
am-
one.
I am gonna say, Dave,
Yeah.
sometimes, not all the time, but you are always welcome to ask me if, hey, can I roll on the wild magic table in this scenario? I may say yes, I may say no, but you
Rule
Yeah.
of cool,
Nonetheless,
as they say.
nonetheless,
Yeah.
I do not plan to let you do it every time, just for the sole reason of that's not chaotic, because you'll be able to predict that it's coming.
That's fair.
It's supposed to be chaotic, so
You can just muster
I
the
won't,
chaos.
you
every
know,
once in a
choose
while.
to do it like once a session or some shit. You'll get your value if you're casting spells. You'll get your value. I promise.
Okay.
So, that being said,
What?
Uh,
Did we ever find out what the paw does? I don't remember if I.
you have no idea what the monkey's paw does. You
Okay.
just know it's a
Okay.
monkey's paw.
Okay, I wasn't sure if I.
Which is never good.
You know,
I did
is what
establish
it
that
is.
it's not stuck to your hand like you originally thought.
yeah. Thank God.
like the little figurine was. Okay, so as you walk out, you all are sort of standing there and you look at each other. The only individual who, I'm just letting you know, the only individual who recalls the events of that wizard tower is Oleg. Both
Hey.
Jaeger and Ashfor are very confused. They thought they just kind of spaced out for a second. And then everyone looks at Oleg and sees,
Lizard.
chameleon, monkey paw, or bearded dragon, monkey paw, cape.
Oh,
So if
crazy
anyone
guys,
would like to
right?
comment on that.
What? What was crazy?
I have-
The wizard tower.
What?
Ashford's gonna go. I have a distinct feeling of being very angry, and I don't know why.
Did y'all hit your head on something? Cause like you're just standing in front of this tent. Like I'm still in the door. Can we like move a little bit?
I
Okay. So you all move aside. No one, everyone's just assuming that Oleg is weird enough to have acquired this stuff in the last, like, what appears to be just mere seconds.
dude,
Yeah,
I just picked it up off the ground.
The only
know?
comment Urky makes is just like, "Oh, nice lizard."
Betcha.
So, Urki, you kind of squeeze by everyone, a little irritated from the possibly mild concussion. But, you walk past, you kind of squeeze past everyone. And you know that the only thing you guys remember being tasked with was seeing what needs to be done around the camp. You also know that you also know that there's you were informed that there was a an archmage who was not named, who is very powerful magic user or something like that, who is going to be casting the ultimate defensive spell, if you guys recall, and he may need help setting up the stuff for that. It was also, I will say, just for sake of party purposes, I will say, and time purposes, I will say that you guys were probably told to stick together, just for the sole reason of there are a lot of soldiers from multiple different factions running around. It's very chaotic, and you don't want to get thrown out on accident because you don't have papers to be there.
Fair.
Yeah.
So, you guys know, you guys saw the medical tents coming in. You also saw, I will say, you pretty much know where the stables are. So if you think there's essentially, this is a giant war encampment. So think of the stuff people would need for a siege or for a long period, stint on a battlefield, etc. It's here. There's probably a makeshift stables for all the mounts. There's probably an armory tent. There's probably, you know what I mean? So you guys can go and help anywhere. You can kind of just see if there's maybe some random soldiers that might need assistance carrying something if you're feeling, not fun at all and you want to do some basic chores.
You calling us basic?
I might be. Depends on what you choose to do.
Mm. Let's see.
Hell, you could go start
mean-
walking as close to the dragon as you can get if you really want to.
I feel like that's a really
Ooh,
bad idea.
that
I don't know
sounds
why.
like a
You
bad
can hear
idea.
it roaring.
Bad
in
idea.
you can hear it roaring in the distance, and when it roars, it shakes the ground. Hell, you guys could just go watch it if you want to.
Josh, why are you trying to trick us into the bad idea?
What? I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
mean, I love that idea.
Who knows? Maybe the dragon is just waiting for one of you, the chosen ones, who can hug dragons, to walk up and give it a big ol' hug.
That sounds exactly
I'm
like
good.
what could be happening.
Where's
Yeah,
Ashfor's
oh.
gun?
Where's Ashfor's gun?
You feel it in the back of your head. It's here. Don't touch.
All right. Let's. So if you guys can't, don't decide anything, I can say you just go to the next part in the story. I guess.
I mean, we
I don't
could
wanna-
go talk to the wizard guy.
Wizard guy sounds
the-
great.
The Archmage. Sure, you can do
Yeah.
that. You
Okay.
also do know that one other person you have met here that you know is around somewhere is, if you guys recall, the Summer Eldrin, Emolitus Ebb, who is a commander, and would answer, in this case, directly to General Khan. And you know, she said she was heading out to go patrol the perimeter.
See,
So Archmage, patrol perimeter, fuck off and do something else. What are we doing? Fuck you, Josh.
I
we're all
mean,
just
I
getting
would-
off and going to bed. Fuck
I
you,
would
Josh.
want
We're all
to talk
going
to
to
the
just dig a
Archmage.
hole straight down until we reach the other end of the earth, because the earth is flat, obviously.
Ooh, guys, let's dig the bedrock. We gotta find bedrock. There are diamonds down there.
I do need some redstone.
Right?
oh my god.
Jesus.
Lapis.
Hey, you need something
We
built with
gotta-
redstone? I got you covered.
Listen, we've got to
Hey,
gear
my
up so we can go
man.
to the end so I can shit the Ender Dragon's pants.
I
know,
literally just saved and quit my game on Minecraft to jump onto the campaign guides. Minecraft joke.
That's great. All right. So anyway, you guys are going to the Archmage.
Yeah, I mean, would anybody else want to do anything? That's what I mean.
Archmage sounds
That's
pretty
what
cool
I
to me.
would love to do.
I'm good.
Well,
Dave,
Alright.
Nice
you might really like
All right.
this character I was talking to Josh about. I was going to make a rogue who has it out for all of pants and pants kind and steals pants so that you can shit them. Josh turned that down instantly.
That's a wonderful idea, though.
Right.
Anyway, off the topic of pants stealing, we're going to. So you all begin to walk over down the main sort of middle aisle of the war encampment, and you see essentially people running around. You see several soldiers walking back and getting carried back, and you also see more soldiers grabbing gear and starting to sprint toward the front line. You see, despite the knowledge that they're just throwing themselves there as cannon fodder, no soldier seems to be phased. They all seem to be you'd have to be an idiot to not realize that they're just sort of going kind of suicide missioning right now, but no soldier seems to be phased. Like everyone is going in there if they can. From all three militaries. So as you guys walk, you notice several what are, I have to describe the only way I can think of you just see several mages. You know they're mages because they are wearing just very clear mage attire. Like there's really not a whole lot of mistaking it. And among all of the mages, you specifically see one man that is taller. He towers over the rest of them. It doesn't matter if they're dwarf, elf, or any other race. There's clearly one man who is larger than the rest of them. And he has his back to you and the other mages with his arms out in front of him. And it's very clear that the other mages are repeating after him in chant. This guy is very clearly the leader. And he is with hood up, and he's very stereotypically hidden face mage. You see several other mages swapping out, sort of like tag teaming. So when the others get low on mana and magic, they take a break, and another mage swaps in. Does anyone here speak Celestial?
Hmm.
Give me a second. I actually might. I do actually.
You do. Okay.
Yes.
Does anyone else speak Celestial?
Nope.
Doesn't sound like it. No. Okay. You recognize the words in this chant as it is Celestial. Ashfor. It is essentially them praising. It is essentially them repeating the names of several gods that could be seen as several good aligned gods that could be seen as protectors or people in protection. Followed by a couple of words that are not in Celestial. You don't recognize them, and you don't recognize even what language they're in. And then the words Law's Sphere.
Okay. Can I roll some sort of roll to try to identify what that word means?
You know it's you get Law's Sphere. It's the word law. Like
I'll be
attorney at
honest.
law,
I thought it was like
and then
laws, like LOS, like lost spear.
Yeah, like it
I was like,
sounded
what?
weird when
Sorry.
you said it. Exactly. Yeah.
Sorry.
It was your
because I'm
pronunciation of
saying-
the word that.
It's because I'm saying a plural name and then the word sphere after it, which isn't like. But yes, Law's Sphere.
Do I? I'm guessing they're casting. I'm guessing that means just magic dome. Like effectively from context clues, they're casting.
Yeah,
the dome
you don't
sphere.
need to make any rolls. By context clues, you assume this is the ultimate defensive spell that they were talking about.
Okay.
So you see who is clearly the Archmage, as well as several other mages lined up, sort of almost in like a pseudo circle, right? A very wide pseudo circle. Like you can kind of see where the sphere is going to form, in a sense.
Yeah.
You also see that there are several mages just laying on the ground behind the mages swapping in and out. As well as several other what can only be described as runners that are running bottles of liquid to them. You don't know if it's water, you don't know if it's booze, you don't know if it's fairy glitter extract. You have no idea.
Can I ask for one of those bottles at all?
Yeah. So you sort of walk over and you try to catch one of the runners. And he's carrying like a crate of them, and he's sort of sprinting over to the mages. And he's like, and he says, "Not unless you're doing the chant, sorry." And he sort of runs by, and he seems to have a mission. Yeah, it doesn't seem like anyone's paying attention to you if you just ask questions. People are running past you. There's even people sort of like yelling at you, like, "Get out of the way!" as they sprint through your group. Like,
Can I
it
assist
is
with the
chaotic.
chant to get one of those bottles?
You roll a Roll an investigation check for me.
That's going to be just a 7.
You don't really know. So you don't see any mages that are tiring out without someone there who's about to tag them out, and anyone. And you can't really. You don't know if all the mages seem to be evenly sort of spaced apart. You're not sure if breaking that chain would, by inserting yourself between two mages, would ruin it. You have no idea.
I mean, I know how we can figure out how we can help.
What you
I
think?
How's
just,
that?
I
He's gonna make
look
someone
up at
shit
the.
themselves.
So how far are we from the main
my
dude who's
God.
orchestrating stuff? I'm not gonna make him shit himself.
Oh, thank God.
You can hear him talking. If you wanted to get his attention, you'd have to like sort of shout over people. But there is room. Like you can walk up
So,
to him and just sort of tap him on
Urki
the
cups her hands to her mouth.
Oh dear.
Hey, Magic Daddy! How do we help?
I
Oh my God.
hate you.
I didn't shit his
so
pants.
Fucking much.
I didn't shit his pants.
You hear you sort of like you can't see anything, and you don't hear him stop chanting. But suddenly, as though just automatically, two mages. One appears to be a dwarf, the other appears to be a halfling. So two smaller mages, as well as two taller mages, a human and perhaps an elf, though you can't quite tell what kind of elf under the hood. You just see the pointed ears in a sense. All four of them take over his singular spot in the chain. And they all appear to be bracing themselves, like adopting a stance as if something is pushing against them, and they are struggling.
Gotcha.
That's rough.
Really quick though, Josh, before we go on, I have to know how many mages besides him looked over, because that's like what their significant other calls them or something.
Roll a
Oh God.
check.
Roll a what?
Roll a perception check.
14.
You notice that perhaps some of them may have like shifted uncomfortably, but they did not break the chant. So,
Yeah,
they
I know some of
cannot
y'all are
sort of-
freaky. Yeah, I got your fucking. I fucking know it now.
Turkey is now officially the Jerry Springer of Aldea.
I'm at a loss for words.
That's what my performance does to people.
Oh my
So
God.
as you all as this, he sort of steps backwards, still with his back to you, letting the other four sort of take his spot. And then without sort of almost in the time you blink, he stands in front of you, Urki.
Oh,
And just
taller
for
than I thought you'd be.
storytelling purposes, we're going to say that Urki's sort of in the front of the group. And he looks down at you, Urki, and you reach his knee.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't
He is
wrong then.
that
Taller
tall.
than I thought you'd be.
He's taller than all of you by a lot.
Wait, he's taller than me?
We could
yeah.
make it so he wasn't taller than you though, so you can hold that.
Oh yeah, he is very tall. You can tell now, very slender. And as you all sort of look up at the face under the hood, you see, and I don't have good art. I tried and I could not get it. So I apologize for that. But you see, almost like his face on his right side is almost decayed, almost rotten, as if like it's a zombie, whereas the other half of his face is pristine, almost angelic. And he looks down at you, and without cracking a smile or changing from his neutral face, he says, Magic Daddy was my dad, not me.
Oh.
Oh,
And you think he's joking? You can't tell.
okay.
And he says, What do you want?
To help, I suppose, best we can.
I hope so. Isn't that what you Adventurers Guild folk are supposed to do?
It's kind of up in the air sometimes. But anyways, how do we
Well,
help? I suppose is
Dave-
the more apt question.
Dave, did we ever
I-
give Urki a last name?
Sure didn't.
Sure did it.
Can Urki's last name be Urki?
Yes,
It's not
I was
Urki.
just gonna say.
Is this a
Urki,
fucking
is
Mario
it
Mario situation?
Yes, exactly.
You're now Urki.
Well,
And
seeing as how you've numbered each one, I assumed it was like a clone situation.
I'm just
Urki
making
the
sure.
first, Urki the second.
Robert, you never, you've never thought about like what your clan name was, right?
I don't think we did.
So
I
you're
mean, we
Oleg
could.
the Reckless. No one.
Oh, like
knows.
the Reckless. Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be
So-
embarrassing if they knew how I got where I got kicked out from.
Well, guess who knows your clan name?
Well, that's rough.
So he looks at the rest of you, so you can also see his half, almost corpse-like face, and he says, "Ash for Blackdew, Urki, Jaeger 0, and Oleg. Pick a random last name for me."
Did
Latrine.
Oleg ever have a name when me and Balin were together? Like, I guess this brings the question, Robert. Does Balin exist in this universe?
No, he does not. I'm gonna say no, he doesn't. So, at least not up to this point that anyone's aware of. So,
Because I was gonna say, if that was the case, then you could always take
if you
Balin's last
if you
name.
if you can't think of something, at Robert, no, we can talk about this later. It will actually be something coming up, or something we'll have to talk about. But he'll just say Oleg, and then he'll stop. And you know that he knows. And he also knows that you probably don't want others to know. So we'll say that, which is why he stops. And he says, I have awaited the arrival of the God Chosen. And he sort of gives a creepy, almost sort of vampiric bow, and he goes, I'm sorry. Why I'm getting a call.
Yeah.
What did you do to
Oh,
her? You haven't hurt us.
I am. Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank on his name. I just had it and then I forgot it. I'm so sorry, guys.
It's fine.
I'm normally better than this. I'm just scatterbrained this weekend. Find the note. Really? That's the name I gave him? Okay. I and Reese Macon. High Cleric
Mm-hmm.
of Torm. Among other deities who I devote my service to. Depending on who you ask, I could be a cleric of Mistra, I could be a cleric of, many other deities.
Isn't that a bit
Anyway.
controversial?
He sort of tilts his head and he goes, how so?
I mean, having such a powerful wizard, worship multiple deities would, maybe they'd get jealous,
The gods do not get jealous of each other, please.
I want to press doubt for that.
And he sort of brushes off what you say, and he goes, now, you would like to help. And he sort of points to, Urki, specifically, and he goes, you, support them, they're gonna need it. And he points back at the 4 mages that appear to be getting pushed back by whatever invisible force this Macon was pushing against. Good old Reese here was pushing against. And they seem to be struggling.
I'll be right back, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh. Confused. Was that Dave or Urki? I think that was Dave.
I think that was Dave, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and he points to both Jaeger and Ashfor, and he says, both of you, there are metal rods stuck in front of each mage you see. I need you to go, and I need you to test that they are sturdy, and test that there is proper magic channels flowing through them. Can the 2 of you handle that?
I can do
Between
the
the
sturdy
2 of
part.
you, yes, that is within your skill set.
You see
then
for kind of give a stretch and goes, a challenge, sure.
And then
I've
he
never
points.
been trained for this.
No, but you are, you know you know what something that's channeling magic properly would look like. Like you are aware. So this would be something you can do.
So I'm just looking for the circuit that's on the fritz.
Yeah,
pretty much,
makes
if there
sense.
are any. And then the last thing is he looks to Olag and he says, "You."
Olog.
Olag?
Okay,
Say
I'm back.
Olag.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. He looks at Oleg, and he says, "You shove
Yes.
these into the ground at even spacing, starting where the current ones end." And he snaps his fingers, and out of the sky, just above your head, and dropping onto the ground in front of you, are 40 to 50 very large metal beams.
That sounds fun.
And you've been asked to essentially drive the stakes into the ground.
Cool. Is there a hammer somewhere?
He sort of looks up and down at you and he says, "You got it."
Look specifically at your fist. You are the hammer.
Be the
It's gonna
hammer.
hurt my hands. God damn.
All right. So
Actually, did I
who would like to
grab a
role
hammer?
play-
No, I grabbed a hammer. Remember, I bought one.
Oh,
I
you
have
did.
a
You
sledgehammer.
actually have a hammer. So yes, you could
I-
use a hammer to help
yeah.
you hammer them
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, I
Um,
want to use a
So
sledgehammer.
I'm
I
going
use my
to.
fist.
I am going to give you guys, before you go off to do your assigned tasks, he sort of sloppily gave you. Does anyone have any questions? As this guy just revealed, he is one of the Macons, which is a big deal. He also is obviously very, very deformed. And he's not hiding that. He's also, though he appears to be a very deformed human, he obviously is not the size of a human. He is massive.
Hey, Macon, right? Yeah, that's what you said your name was. What's with your face and all that, huh?
Jesus.
Get right to the point. I like this guy. He probably won't be around that long, but I like him.
He looks at you. He looks at you, and he sort of just like tilts his head, almost sort of robotically, almost unemotionless. And he says, and he says, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, that's a respectable answer.
And he looks to the rest of you. He goes, is there something on my face? And you guys, again, cannot tell if he's joking or serious because he has no fucking emotion.
I'd say it's more of a lack thereof than something being on your face.
Man. This guy just wants to. God damn.
You guys like it?
Whatever happens, happens.
Gaslighter.
Nature happens.
I agree.
Like, oh no.
I'll have to tell my
feeling
druid brother
shame.
about that. We'll play out in the order they were given the jobs. So Urki, you were asked to go support the 4 mages that were having a hell of a time trying to hold in place whatever magic good old Reese Macon here was holding in a spot. Do you go to support them? Or do you sort of fuck off? Yeah?
I'll go support him.
So, you walk up to them, and you notice there is a spot in between the 4 of them, like right in the middle, so you can sort of like attune with. And as you approach, you notice that this would likely be mostly imperceptible to anyone without some sort of magical affinity. But there is almost, you can see the air of magic and where sort of like the barrier is beginning. So you can see what these guys are pushing on. And as you approach and you go to lift out your hands to touch the magic,
Gotcha.
you sort of stop and you freeze in place. Need you to make an intelligence saving throw for me.
That's crazy.
14.
Nice.
So you are barely able to understand why your body has stopped unresponsively for just a moment. The magic you're about to touch, is that on par with someone with exponentially more magical power and skill than anyone you've ever personally known? The fact it hadn't really hit you what it meant to cast a divine level ultimate defense spell, the amount of pure just power and arcana in the air that would take to cast, until you were standing in front of the concentrated amount of that magic. And you know that when you touch this, it is going to take everything you have. And if you are not careful, I'm going to say this DM to player, if you do not make the checks proper, there is the possibility of exhaustion levels.
Yeesh.
That fucking sucks, but let's do this shit, I guess.
As you reach out to touch it, you feel the magic. You can almost reach your hand into the arcane plane, into the veil. You can almost feel the just pure concentrated power and magic, and it feels infinite. It feels like you could snap your fingers and create or destroy universes. It is that intense, that powerful.
I could get used to this.
And even though it is straining every muscle and magical fiber of your being to hold on to it and maintain it, you are in bliss. This would be like the ultimate crack for a spellcaster, especially a pure caster. And then suddenly, you begin to have visions. You are no longer staring into the veil. Or maybe you are. You don't know. But you begin to see, almost as if you were zooming at hundreds of miles an hour, out and away, and you take yourself zooming over the sea. You see Trongma, you see the islands, you see ruins, you see temples, you see smaller countries you didn't know existed. You see a desert with pools of black ooze scattered all over, almost like tar pits. You then reach what can only be described as an edge. The edge of the world. Blackness at its end. The ocean just falls into an abyss you cannot see to the bottom. And you fly over this blackness and shoot upwards into the stars. And as you float there, Erky, you see almost a boat, a ship, but with many cogs and many just much more technologically and mechanically advanced stuff than you've seen even the highest ranking artificers and blacksmiths of the Adventurers Guild make. And it flies through the sky, and then suddenly you see it fire what you can only assume to be some sort of cannon. But it goes by in like a red beam of light. Lasers for players. And as it shoots into a giant ball of fire who it hurts almost to look directly at, you hear a mighty roar, and you see almost what appears to be a serpent slithering through it. And we're going to cut to the others. Yay. Anyway, Ashfor and Jaeger. Ashfor and Jaeger. Do you both stick together, or do you take like opposite ends and work in? What's the deal? Like I said, all of these rods are in a semicircle. And Oleg, along with, it appears, one other guy on the right side of the semicircle, is hammering down some of these rods. So Oleg, I'm assuming you would go to the left side, unless you are, that just, I had to choose
Fucking
left or
going
right
to town.
But yep. So Oleg, you sort of get, it's very easy to see how far apart they're spaced, and it's literally, I guess, if you wanted to roll checks, I would make you.
All right. You want me to?
Sure. Make a strength check. Just an overall strength check, and if it's above 10.
Yeah, it's 11. I did it.
Okay, that's Close, but
That was
good.
close.
Yeah, no, you successfully get these things into the ground,
Yay.
and very accurately. As for Ashford and Jaeger, you begin to
Yeah.
inspect them one by one. I'm gonna need you both to make Arcana checks for me.
Question: does that not add your proficiency bonus if I'm proficient in this? Or wait, that's just an overall strength check,
Should
so that
do it
proficiency
automatically.
doesn't get added, right?
Yeah, I don't figure anything out.
One, so doesn't even matter.
Did you both roll super low?
I got a 5 total.
Okay. You both did.
That's rough.
Okay. So as far as you guys can tell, yeah, no, these rods are channeling magic properly. There's no issues. They were put in absolutely perfectly.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Did we just kill everyone?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
oh no, they're put in perfectly. What do you mean?
everything's fine.
I don't know what you're talking about. So, that being said, yeah, no, you guys are good. After you finish your thing, you hear a horn sound. An alarm, like an alarm blaring. And you notice the mages, some of them start to stir and almost panic, and they speed up their incantations quickly, and they begin to exert even more magic into this barrier that's forming. And the three of you realize you need to either help with the barrier, those of you who can use magic, or back away. Oleg, you may be able, if Oleg would desire to, possibly physically support some of the mages who appear to be, sort of faltering by helping
Alright.
them up. Or
Sure.
if you just to give Oleg something to do, assuming you guys want to feel useful here.
Yeah.
But yes, so while Oleg is trying to physically aid people, and Jaeger, you sort of, I'll leave you the choice because you could do either relatively well. To Jaeger and Ashford get the choice to either help the runners out because they start picking up the pace, or to support in the magic support a couple of the mages that are faltering a little bit. That's your call.
I mean, I speak Celestial, so I might as well help.
Okay. Yeah. So you begin to help. Jaeger, what would you like to do?
My passive perception is 15. Does it seem like we did a bad job with the rods, and perhaps if maybe I go around and do a more thorough job of checking on these rods, that it might help?
Make an insight check for me. With advantage.
1 second.
With advantage. I'll let you, because you have the passive perception. You did bring that up, so with advantage.
Okay. Hang on 1 second. My silly.
He's gonna go around and rearrange all of Daddy Wizard's rods.
So I will send you guys. So this isn't necessarily him, but these are the sort of, I guess you could say, the colors. These are the robes that all of the mages are wearing. You guys, including him, and you may know these robes as these are the colors of the Mages College. So the King of
Okay.
Norvik is.
Okay, now I got my character sheet to load the skills. Which did I need to roll with advantage?
Insight.
Insight. Okay. Come on, insight. Much better.
Okay, very nice.
There goes my wisdom.
So you, right. So you begin to, you figure out almost immediately what this alarm means, because you very subtly your enhanced sort of warforged ears as well as very good eyesight sort of picks up on the fact that the dragon's demeanor, that that however far away we established it is, anyway, stick concrete over that. Wow. He the dragon's demeanor changed, and he puffs out his chest. And you assume this can only mean one thing. And you hear a couple people, soldiers back at the tents, like, it's too soon. It shouldn't be charged yet. He should still be recovered from the last one. So I'm assuming I don't need to tell you he's about to unleash his breath weapon, which
Quick
you already
pause.
told could fucking level this entire camp.
Quick pause. Josh, you sound like you have a bag of dicks in your mouth, and also your mic sounds about 10 million miles away.
Better?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. I don't know if you guys heard anything I said then.
I heard a little bit.
I
it's
heard
about to
all
use
of
his
it.
breath weapon. You know, I
Yeah.
got the gist.
Long story
of it.
short, Jaeger, your advanced robot hearing and eyes, you can tell by the panic in people and stuff, he's about to use his breath weapon. Much earlier than expected. And you also all remember being told that if he uses it again, it could level this entire war camp.
Yeesh.
So anyway, she begins to form up, and Erky, this sort of snaps you back into place. You sort of feel yourself get yanked away from this far off space, astral place. And before you're even able to think and process what it was, you notice that standing behind you and reaching over you at the barrier is Reese Macon. And he is supporting you. And he, for the first time as you look up at him, Erky, you do manage to tell that he is gritting his teeth. This is the first emotion you've seen from him.
Okay.
He's and all of you, Jaeger, in a voice that sounds familiar but you can't place. You hear this word, Ashfor, in the voice of a almost angelic, beautiful woman. You hear this be said, Oleg, in the voice of a voice you recognize, Malar.
Malar,
Erky.
oh boy.
In the voice of a raspy, almost wild-sounding woman. You all hear the same word.
Is
Pray.
it to survive?
It is pray. And in your head, you know the exact word to say in this moment. It is the name of the sphere spell. Sphere spell? Sphere spell.
Who, me?
All of you. Literally all of you.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming you all say the name of the spell.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
As you say this, collectively, every mage, and you hear every soldier in the back, and those of you with a passive perception of 14 or higher did notice that both the Coffer, if you guys recall, the Merchant King of Trongma, the Sea General, the Turtle Storm, and essentially both of the Wizard King as well as his general, and King Mauermark. The only one not here from that tent is General Khan, who is chanting with the soldiers back at camp, have joined you all at the barrier. And you all chant the same thing. Law's sphere. As a blinding holy light beams down at the center, just above where the dragon in the distance is. And a bright white light begins to form over his head, almost as though it's spreading out across the land and begins to form the dome. And you see, as many Aarakocra and fairies and other flying races, as well as many land races and aquatic races, begin to all flee away from the dragon in a desperate attempt to reach the outside of the dome before it closes. To no avail. And the dragon unleashes his breath attack, and you see just a tsunami of acid spread out in all directions in a massive roar that shakes your souls to their core. And as it hits the walls of the barrier, all you see is black acidic smoke fill as it pushes against the barrier, trying to force its way out. You all push and hold with as much of your might as possible. Mages along the line begin to fall one by one, not hurt. They don't appear to be damaged, but they fall over, drained of their magic, on near death. Until finally, the barrier begins to slowly fall away as the acid begins to settle and dissipate within it and evaporate into the air inside. And as the smoke clears and the barrier goes down, you all fall and stumble, as does everyone working the barrier. And as the smoke clears, you see a field of just black things burned to death, melted to nothing but ash in the acidic smoke. You see no corpses, no buildings, no grass. The land is simply black. And the only thing that stands, as though he didn't move once, is the unscathed green dragon great worm. As it begins to flap its wings and move up into the sky with one final bellowing roar. You see the dragon take off to the south over the mountain range in the direction of Trongma. Does anyone have a passive perception 16 or higher.
Let me see. Passive perception. I do. 16.
Mine's only 15.
Erky, Jaeger? Or
I just
Jaeger,
said
you
mine's
said you
only
were sorry.
15.
Yes.
Yeah.
Erky
No.
and Ash 1. I apologize. No for Ash 4. Erky?
No, I'm 14.
Buddy?
I'm sorry. Repeat that one more time, Josh.
What is your passive perception?
12. I'm not getting above 16.
Okay. So, Oleg, you were the only one who sees, but you see undoubtedly what is smaller creatures fly off of the back of the dragon as it takes off south and fly in many directions, almost like the silhouettes of them.
What
And
are
you can't
those?
tell what they are. You can't tell. It looks like one of them maybe has wings. The others are just sort of flying and or floating. You can't tell. They appear to be just specks and silhouettes.
Can
to you.
I quickly ask what's his name? The robot guy? Sorry, I can't remember your character's name.
Jaeger.
If he can see them? Yeah, if Jaeger can see them with his enhanced vision.
Ooh. I'm gonna say with a 15, since we established you have like enhanced eyes and whatever. Jaeger, you also see the silhouettes as well. So sure, yeah, we'll say that. We did establish that he has better eyesight than most, so that's fine. So yes, you guys see these silhouettes, and you see several of them. You count 5. It could be like 6 or 7. You can't quite tell, but there's a handful of them, and they move at breakneck speeds in all directions. They sort of like scatter and split up. And with that, everything is silent. No one is saying anything. Even the labored breaths of the mages and everyone appear to be drowned out by the sheer weight and silence of everything that just transpired in mere moments.
No, that wasn't good.
I get the feeling we're going to have to hunt certain things down that just took off.
No idea.
As you all sort of sit there grappling and debating on what to say, Reese pipes up and says in a loud, unfeeling voice, "God chosen."
Yeah,
Clearly
that's us.
talking to the group of you. And he says, "Are you ready to be transported?"
To where?
That does seem like a good question.
As you ask to where, he looks down at Erky, because he is right next to you, Erky, and he says, "It was rhetorical." And he snaps his fingers.
I didn't even get to
Hey,
shit that
he
guy's
just-
pants.
God.
And you all end up in a basement, you think? Along
sense.
with him. He is there too.
I have not
Um,
lost the opportunity.
This basement appears to be It appears to be a private shrine room, a private prayer room. And you notice on one wall, you see the wall is lined with portraits of different deities. You see Torm and Mistra, which you know he's mentioned. You guys see Dionysus, and you see several other deities that you can sort of assume that. If you'd like me to list off all the ones here, I can. It won't. You knowing the information would just let you know what deities this guy prays to, essentially. But you also notice someone who is not a deity, but is someone you all recognize because you've seen this exact portrait many, many times in books as a child. It is a portrait, right in the middle, of Theodore Macon, the first god chosen and the hero who summoned the gods to this world.
I can't believe he did that. Motherfucker.
I can't believe who did what.
Got teleported without permission. What the fuck?
It doesn't really surprise me. Us magicking types aren't all about consent. Hold on, I realize after the fact how that sounds. I promise you.
He's like,
I'm a
it's
firm
not
believer
what I
in
meant. He's like, that's not what I meant. Shut up.
No.
Okay, that's
Me as David said exactly what I meant to. Erky, however, is now backpedaling.
He's like, shit, fuck, shit, fuck. Marky, did you say what I think you said? You're like,
No, you misheard.
Uh-huh. What I miss here?
I can't tell you what you misheard if you didn't hear what I said.
Uh-huh. Anyways.
Anyways, yeah. So, on another note, he looks at you and says, and he says, apologies. And you hear him sigh out deeply as he sort of collapses, what you assume is to his knees, but you can't tell because the robe sort of covers everything.
Mhm.
And he is just like in an instant out of breath. And it's very clear that he's been, at least to an extent, faking it till he makes it. Because that took a lot out of him.
Yeah. Understandable.
He says, I apologize. I could not wait. I could not let the others see me like this. But you are God chosen. I trust this will stay. And he stands up between us.
Yeah.
Me and my kin cannot appear weak to the masses.
I get that.
Well, he points to the shrine over there. He points to his shrine, and you all kind of recognize it. It's a general prayer shrine. It's not devoted to a certain god or even one of the gods he prays to. It's a general prayer shrine. It's like,
Yeah.
if you, God chosen, have anyone you wish to convene with or send message to, and you think they may hear you, I recommend you do so. I don't know
Alright.
when the next time you'll get to is. Please, come upstairs for some tea once you have decompressed. And he sort of bows and walks out the only door in the room.
Alright.
So you all have a moment to sort of chat amongst yourselves about what happened, your feelings, what you saw.
When it happened, if they
Um,
did what I said, Oleg might be a little salty about that. That's a possibility.
I will also say, Erky, you
Mhm.
because of how the spot and how deep you touched the barrier and the pure magic,
Mhm.
you have almost like for an hour in game time, you have heightened senses toward magic, and you can tell that this room has a ward put on it.
Interesting.
This room itself is its own pocket space. It is private. Anything you guys say to each other will never escape this room, assuming none of you ever say it. So you can talk shit about anyone you want.
Man, that king's a douche, huh?
I figured something
I
like that
hate
was
him.
coming, which is why I said it.
So,
You should've went with what I
overthrowing the government,
said.
huh?
I didn't
What?
say it out loud, but that guy deserves to be a little shorter than he is.
I look at Erky and I go, please tell me you shit his pants.
I mean, I can.
Little
Not the
too late
wizard,
now.
the king.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I figured he's the type he'd behead me, and I'm ballsy. I'm not that ballsy. I did make his breastplate less shiny.
Can
Well,
I
It's
dap
kind of
up
a
Erky?
consolation prize.
Just to be like, yo, my girl like fucking daps up Erky.
Oh my god.
But Ashford will lament on the loss of life and fully agree that like Oleg's idea might have been significantly better.
It would at least bought people time.
So,
And that was the point.
do you have anything you'd like to interject with the group there, Jaeger? A little quiet.
well, I'm not really sure what he should say because, I mean, the ramifications of what just occurred, I would assume he would actually be quiet, like I'm being quiet right now. It's not an unintentional silence. It's more along the lines of he's not really sure
He's
how to deal with the fact that although we, huh?
He's processing.
Yeah, he's processing what it means to have a conscience suddenly. It's a lot of dead people.
Is that what he says? Because that
Yeah.
could be something for him to say. Just something
Finally,
simple.
after a very, very long silence, he just quietly says, "That's a lot of dead people."
It's a lot of dead people that didn't need to die. It's
Agreed.
a disgusting loss of life.
Indeed.
Well,
And those things that flew away, the hunter instinct in me says we should track those down and kill them. I feel that they are a threat.
Hold up. Things that flew away? What things?
The things
Not
that
sure they're on
scattered in
their
every
back, though.
direction.
I didn't see any of these things scatter. That's why I'm asking. Like, that can't be good at all.
I don't know what it was.
That won't have any ramifications in the future.
Mm-hmm.
well, lads, it's all set in on us. So let me ask, what are we gonna do about it?
I
Wow,
mean, it is our job to protect the world.
I mean,
I don't
I
think
suppose-
there's a way for us to track those down. Though.
I suppose let me pose this question to you as not your friend Urk you've been traveling with, but the associate in charge of fucking Adventurers Guild bullshit. Are you ready to put your lives down on the line to stop this and whatever that may mean, or will you go live out the rest of your days doing something? Although we've been tasked to do this, they can't make us stay. I imagine that would be a selfish act already in and of itself, but I know I'm prepared to stay. Nothing's stopping the rest of you.
Jaeger was kind of staring at the ground this whole time, tilts his head up and says, I was built by the hands of James McCain, the hands of a Macon, for a purpose to hunt things that were not of this natural world, aberrant things. The return of the dragons is an aberration in nature. I have one purpose, and that is to hunt this.
Ashfur will pipe up and say, I mean, I'm already here. It's not like I can, just leave. But. And he kind of looks for a moment and you go, I wonder how good dragon's blood would be in alchemical. I mean, sure. I wouldn't exactly leave anyway. This is a purpose given to me by Dionysus himself, so fuck it. Let's go hunt us down some dragons.
What's the saying? The bigger they are, the harder they fall. So I'm down.
Got it. Urki has become a robot and has started making typing noises.
I thought I had muted for that. My muted things were sideways.
It's
Sideways?
fine.
Backwards.
It's fine. It's sideways.
Urki was. I'll just tell you guys. Dave was apologizing to me for because he gave you guys literally a reason to leave the campaign, and he's like, I know it's kind of like we aren't supposed to have a choice, but I felt like this worked really narratively, and it's like, why are you apologizing?
I knew none of you would take
I
the
mean,
way out.
Plus,
It's
if
just
any of
thematic.
I mean,
plus,
shit,
if any of
you
you
right.
guys, if any of you guys actually said no, I would say no. Fuck you. You're doing it. What do you mean?
Well, that's why I kind of.
He took the
Oh,
way
did
out.
he just-
I guess that's
Did
it.
he just leave?
Right, I'm back as a pants stealer. I'm here to steal the pants.
Nate, you missed it. I literally said that, while it was great roleplay, if any of you did actually say, "Oh, I don't want to do it," I would have said, "Fuck you, you're staying."
Understandable. Fuck you. Have a nice day.
Yep, exactly.
That was a small reason why I was giving my character speech, because I was like, let me inspire everybody back the other direction for a moment.
No, that was really good. You sort of roleplayed out a little, I'm starting to know who I am, and I know what I
Yes.
was made for. So I'm gonna.
Exactly.
That's good. I like that. This was very good. So,
Guys, I'm
you
figuring out who I
guys-
am. I'm gay.
We knew
congratulations.
that already.
We're here. We're here for you, buddy, and we'll support you in whatever decisions you make. Anyway, so I guess Ashfur is out of the mating pool for you, Urki.
Damn it.
What a
She's like, this is the one I
shame.
really
Like,
wanted to get
man.
with.
So anyway, I mean, technically, I guess the only person in the party now would be Oleg, because Jaeger is like a robot. He can't reproduce.
Go get that.
So-
Go get it, Oleg. Go get that Gobdussi.
Oh my god.
I'm just okay. We're moving on. Anyway, where that wasn't said.
I heard.
Ooh.
No Thulu appears and takes away the memory.
Yeah. Nope. No more. Yep. Goodbye. Anyway, so let's just axe that for a sec. So so you all sort of have this sort of like moment of, even though it is for your own reasons, and maybe even you're unsure of exactly how far this will take you and what it'll mean now, you all know that this is a calling higher than any of you ever expected to have in your lifetimes, and that even so, it was a calling bestowed on you. And you have this newfound sort of, even for different reasons, you have this almost sort of camaraderie that you feel for a moment in this room. Because among your different gods, among, or lack thereof, among your different skill sets, your different upbringings, your different worldviews, you all have one thing in common. You want to see the world become a better place than it was a moment ago, and you all want to survive to see that better place. So you have two options before you. Go in, pray to a deity in this room if you have someone you'd like to pray to, and see if anything comes back, which may or may not. Or join Reese Macon for tea and see if he has some answers for you. He is,
Sorry, I almost
after
said
all,
feature.
one of the legendary Macons.
Well, Josh, since technically I don't remember my meeting with my patron, I'm going to join him for tea because I don't know who I'm supposed to be praying to.
Well, so as I said before, this is a generic prayer shrine. So you could just pray to any god listening sort of situation. You don't have to specifically devote the prayer to a deity.
Okay, but I do. Do I at least have a vague, familiar sense of like a feeling of what I'm praying to that I did before, even though I don't remember what answer?
No, but you remember
I've
how
made
it
this like
felt.
a challenge. I fucking love it.
You remember how it felt when you remember the energy you put into the prayer that got energy back.
Okay, well, I'll focus on that energy, and at the very least, I will focus on the thought of the tree that I first sort of like bonded and is part of the blue crystals now.
Oh.
Yeah, I remembered.
So you're gonna try and pray to that tree.
Well, I consider
Okay.
it sort of a patron in a sense because it gave me a boon. So
True. Okay.
I
So
guess for
you
all
go to
intents
the
and
shrine.
purposes,
No, so yeah, I get it. So you walk up to the shrine before heading up the stairs, and you place your hands on it, and you sort of bow your head in prayer, and you don't know what to say, but all you can do is focus on the feeling of calm and the feeling of cleansing that washed over you when you communed with the royal Fey tree. And you hear the same voice you heard when you communed with it.
which I believe was just a song.
Correct. And you hear the same voice that was singing, and it's singing a different song this time. In common.
Hmm.
So you can undoubtedly understand what it's saying. And it's singing
Well, remember, I do
a
also speak Elvish, so she can speak to me in Elvish.
correct, but it's in common.
Okay.
And she is singing uh she is singing what you recognize as a fey a Fey lullaby. And it's specifically a lullaby whose lyrics tell that no matter how far they are, it talks about how a child's parents will watch them and observe their failures and successes. And you get the feeling that this voice, this tree, and the spirit that resides within it is doing the same for you. It is watching you. It is observing your successes and your failures.
Then Flower Child
You
appears
are
behind
not
her.
Meanwhile, you hear a sound. You sort of snap back out of the prayer, and you hear a sound that you've never heard before. Murder, who is still sitting on your shoulder, is trilling, almost purring like a cat. And he seems to be just sort of swaying back and forth, almost as though he can hear the melody too.
You like that song, Murder?
He looks at you, but he doesn't speak. And you realize you're probably too far away for the spell Zed cast on him to be effective currently.
Well, Josh, the way I could gauge a response is if he stops trilling. If he stops trilling, it means he answered me. If he keeps trilling, it means he also answered me, but in a different way.
He turns to look at you. He turns a sort of flower head toward you. But he doesn't stop swaying or trilling. He's
That's a yes.
enjoying himself.
I think by the end of this, I will
Anyone-
figure out how to speak corpse flower even without the spell.
Would anyone else like to attempt to pray to
Yes.
a being?
Yes.
You would
Ashford is
actually.
going. I am going to attempt to commune with Dionysus.
With Dionysus.
Unless anything else answers. I technically don't know that I'm a warlock.
You don't. You also, as far as you also don't know whose god chosen you are.
Yeah, we talked about it. I'm Dionysus' god chosen. That was the conversation we had at the beginning of the
No.
campaign.
We said you think you're Dionysus' god chosen, but you are also aware that Dionysus doesn't choose god chosen, and he has never told you he is your god chosen. We had this conversation literally last week.
No, it didn't. But anyway.
Okay.
Well, then I am going to attempt to commune with my god then.
But no, it's fine. So you said you are going to commune with Dionysus, which is fine. Again, you don't have to communicate with your god here. He didn't communicate with his, because he doesn't know who his is. So he communicated with what he knows. So you communicating with Dionysus is fine. That's not. I was just as DM saying I don't recall ever confirming nor denying that you were Dionysus' god chosen.
See,
I
that's
apologize if there was some confusion there, and we can go over that later and come to
Yeah,
a
we're gonna have
solid
to.
conclusion. I apologize. Okay.
Yeah, because I was under the the idea that Dionysus was my god chosen this whole time because of my mission.
Right. Okay. So you go to you pray to Dionysus, and in your head you hear a yo, what's up, bros? It's Dionysus. I can't fucking hear your prayer right now because I'm busy partying. Leave a message. Beat, motherfucker.
I hate it here. Then I am going to leave
I
a
don't know what you
divine
would
prayer
expect.
message. Basically being like, what the fuck, bro? Where the fuck are you guys? This is some bullshit. No, in all
So
seriousness,
you
I'm
say,
basically
so you say what the fuck, and suddenly it it beeps again, and it beeps again, and it says you have reached the maximum time for your message. Would you like to re-record? If not, hang up.
I am going to redo it, and I am going to speed through this prayer as fast as I can pray to get out as big of a message to him as possible. Like, you didn't want to pay for more minutes back in like the 90s, so you basically, when you fucking called someone as the like
Yes.
instead
Yep,
of the
go
name,
ahead.
basically
I'm
I'm gonna
listening.
ask like where the gods are, who my god is, what's going on, why are the gods disappearing and stuff like that. So basically those type of questions.
Okay. Then you hear the beep, and it says your time has expired. Would you like to re-record your message? If not, you may hang up.
I'm just gonna be like, I don't know how to hang up on a god, so I just kind of get up and go for tea.
You hung up. Well done. Proud of you.
Well,
Anyone else?
Can I seriously just ask, did you get ghosted by Dionysus and do the re-record your message like an ex trying to get back together?
Maybe.
I think was it Forge or what was the one
I
god
think yours is
at the
Helm.
beginning of my game? Helm. I wanna go see if Helm has anything to say. Yeah.
Okay. How do you pray to Helm? I want you to tell me how Oleg prays to a god he had never heard of until like a week ago. Not even.
Like, what is there like a shrine for him or whatever?
No, it's just the one shrine that is a generic prayer
Alright.
shrine.
I thought he was gonna ask, is there a book on this?
Yeah, open a book. How do I pray to a god? He's gonna walk up. Go, all right, Helm. I've never heard of you. I'm surprised you heard of me. I don't know why you chose me as God chosen. But I feel like we have some things we need to talk about. That's about it.
You
Eloquent.
Yeah,
You don't hear any-
Oleg
you-
is
you-
yeah.
You don't hear anything for a moment. And then the entire room hears the response. This one's not even just to you.
Oh,
The entire
gee.
room shakes with the booming voice of Helm going, "Insolent cur! You dare speak to me in such a plain demeanor?"
Yes.
And as you say yes, it goes silent. And he goes, and he just is stuttering, and he's like, just don't fucking die.
I feel like I've heard that somewhere before.
And then yeah, he cuts off whatever connection.
Well, I think he likes me, guys.
I don't know if I should respect you for talking to a god like that, or like slap you because it's heretical, but
I respect him.
good shit.
I mean, normally we just kill things for the gods we normally pray to. So, like, you know, for Helm and whatnot.
Well, the god chose you for a reason. Maybe your defiance, even in his presence, is your strength. I don't know.
Or it's maybe just my strength.
Well, could be
Both
both.
are
Ring that you
viable
shit
options.
yourself with.
How about you, Urki? You got anyone you wanna commune?
Yeah, actually. So Urki, if you would allow me to using my enhanced like magical senses right now,
Uh-huh.
I want to try and like mentally seek out the most powerful sort of aura I can find.
You're gonna have to give me some criteria.
Like I'm literally I'm like trying to like close my eyes and like spread out my magical senses to whoever may be listening. I'm trying to lock on to whoever feels the most powerful.
Uh-oh.
Are you just trying to figure out which god is the strongest?
Josh, I'm trying to
Is that
talk
what
to
I'm
a
getting?
primordial being.
I see. That's what I thought. Cool. Yeah. So, you sort of use that enhanced magical energy of yours, and you all see. You don't need magical senses to see the arcana begin to flow around Urki and exude from her as she starts reaching out into the cosmos. And
Does something seem eerily familiar about the way she's praying?
yeah, actually, well, you sense a familiar presence. Urki, you are suddenly standing in what can only be described as back in space. You're floating in a void with no stars near you but distant constellations all around. And as though standing on a floor you can't comprehend, you don't just, with your enhanced magical senses, you don't just commune with one primordial being. You commune with all 12
Oh,
eldritch beings,
Big mistake.
and standing in
speak for
between,
yourself.
standing in front of and in the middle of all of them, is someone who is eerily familiar, but you can't place their face. They have, strangely, the body of a goblin, a form that it took because it would be familiar to you. And it stands in front of you with a face that every time you blink appears to change to someone else you've seen and known before. And using a voice akin to your own, it speaks. And it says, "My, what strong magical power you have to draw me and my kin here against our will."
I'll be frank, that was a little bit of an accident. Kind of riding this high right now.
And you see he reaches his hand out to you. And he sort of grabs your face from the chin. And he sort of like squeezes and he turns your head and inspects it.
Do you
And he goes,
like what you see?
He goes, "Arcanum Overload. You have a very strong affinity, something I haven't seen in a long time, for storing magical properties. This is akin to one of the divine birth defects bestowed upon very few in this world.
Well, that sounds
You are
nice.
almost like a storage container.
You're a mana battery.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what he's saying. You're a mana battery.
Well, on that note, I actually had a question for. Really, I was hoping for one of you, but since you're all here, maybe I don't know if any of you would know anything more or less than the other. So, the running theme in this world, I'm sure you all know, being you. So the gods came after you. But
They did.
You had to come from somewhere, right? I just want to know if you have any memory of that, or if you know of any way that one may acquire the power and ability to join your ranks.
You see him sort of stop. And though they, for the moment, appear to be voiceless, you don't need to hear them to see that the other 12 behind him are laughing, almost mocking your statement. And he says, "You. One of us. One of my kin."
Ergy looks him in whatever the approximate of his eyes are, and I say, I am dead serious. And I'm going to take out a well-worn journal of sorts. Say, I've heard tales of what's out there. Still don't know if they're true, but if they are, I would need the power of one of you to fight those creatures, and that's what I want. And I'm deadly fucking serious.
You can't tell, obviously, but he sort of, you feel as though he's, like, if you almost feel like you can see his jaw tensing as he grits his teeth at your words. And he says, "When you can tell me what color my eyes are, then I will answer your questions."
Can I not tell what color his eyes are, I assume?
You can't make out his face. You can't.
Oh, yeah,
you
that's
can't
right.
perceive it. And it's when you look, you think for split seconds it looks like other people you've met. You even see like some other Urkies that you recognize, like your mother and other things. You recognize some of the people you've met recently. You see several just random Adventurers Guild members that you've seen before. You can't comprehend. So you're just seeing things. Your brain is filling in the blanks, giving
gotcha.
itself something to comprehend. And as he says this, he reaches his hand out one more time. And as I said, he has the body of a goblin for you. And he reaches his hand out flat, palm toward your forehead. And he sort of, there's a little jab with the heel of his palm on your forehead, pushing you back. And you gasp for air as you are back in the room with the others. And you feel very quickly the Arcana overload dissipating and leaving your body finally.
Wow.
Hey, Erky. Would you
Yeah?
roll on the wild magic table for me? That was a lot of magic you just used.
I will roll on the
Oh,
wild magic
boy.
table.
Dude, that was so fucking
You know what?
bad.
You know what? You just used so much wild magic.
38.
What is a 38?
Not great for anyone in this room.
What is it?
You cast inflict wounds on the nearest creature within 30 feet of you.
Oof.
This is a square room.
Do you just
I guess
want to
you
roll
pick who
a,
you cast
like,
on.
Well, how many people are there? How many of us are there?
It's
Besides
the three
me,
of you.
it's you three.
So
Oh,
you want to
actually,
roll like a
No, hold
D4?
on. both Felix and Murder are in this room as well.
God damn it!
Oh
God
no.
damn it! I was hoping you'd forget
No.
that, Josh.
Don't
So that's
like that.
5. So there's 5 people other than Erky. Erky, roll a d6. I've assigned people numbers in my head already. If you roll, there is a number for yourself as well, Erky.
1. Are you sure there's a number for myself? Because
Hey.
one of the options, the other part of that is if there aren't any creatures nearby, I cast it on myself. But if you want to include me in that, I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah, well, because if I include you, it's 6 people total. So we're just gonna roll a d6 because you're all kind of like
Okay.
in a room clumped. There's not really a closest person per se. So with the ones, hey, Ashfor. Sorry, buddy.
What's up?
You get inflict wounds cast on you.
Okay, tell me how much health I lose.
It's 3d10
That's up to Erky.
necrotic, so let me roll it really quick.
You gotta roll to hit first.
That's a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, so I might not even hit with it. I just cast it.
True.
Which that's a melee spell attack. So I'll just, I don't know, use a dagger that I got, I guess. Does a 20 hit? You say yeah?
Yeah.
You take 22 necrotic damage.
Okay, give me a second and I'll put that on my sheet.
You guys are gonna get a long rest after this anyway. That's just funny. And because you expended so much magic, Erky, would you like to roll again on the wild magic table?
I would, honestly, yeah, I would love to roll again. I haven't done it at all yet.
You said 22?
Yeah.
22, yes. Necrotic.
47.
What happens with a 47, Erky? You summon a baby red dragon?
No, a unicorn controlled by the DM appears in a space within 5 feet of me and disappears
What?
1 minute later.
Oh,
cool.
yay!
What can unicorns do? Don't they have some cool things?
Unicorns can
Hey,
do a lot of stuff, and if you kill one, you're automatically now chaotic evil.
That's crazy.
Hey, Dave.
Or not.
They're
I don't think
horde-
any of us.
No.
Their horde
Hey,
can
Dave.
cast the 4th level
What's up?
cure.
Remember Adonis?
No, don't. No. I hated Adonis so much that when I took over, I retconned him almost entirely, and the unicorn was instead his cousin Chet, who was filling in for him because he had a family emergency. Because they were like, do the accent, it's Adonis. I'm no, now it's Chet, and he's a dude, bro. Fuck that.
He's a surfer
Oh, like
dude.
my old monk?
All right. So in the middle of the room, among all of you, a unicorn appears. A beautiful, majestic white unicorn. And just for the, I understand Wild Magic Unicorn, just for the flavor, and Dave knows why. It's not a unicorn. It's a Pegasus. It has wings and shit. And it has a beautiful, long, blonde, flowing mane. And it sparkles, and rainbows are everywhere in the room. And it sort of stands there majestically, very much showboating. And it looks to you and it says,
prestidigitation to soil its coat.
Oh my god.
it looks to you. You're gonna let me finish, motherfucker.
Yeah.
It looks to you, and it looks down its snout at you, Erky, and it says, "This filthy goblin has summoned Adonis.
Excuse the fuck out of you.
I only interact with those of beauty." And it sort of like flicks his head away from you. Dramatically.
What about me?
I have 20 charisma.
And it sort of, you see it sort of eye all of you. It says, "You are all absolutely hideous, but you have summoned me. You may each ask a singular question, and I shall answer it how I deem fit. Go now, ask Adonis your questions."
You
Alright,
summoned it,
well-
you ask first.
What
Can
did
I
you
have
say?
some blood?
He looks to
I would like it noted
Ashford.
a minute has passed.
Oh shush! This is all
Okay.
out of.
No,
Out of-
Brian's right. A minute has passed.
As
Well,
Ashford
he's been
asks his question,
describing it.
as Ashford asks his question, Adonis goes, "No," and then poof, vanishes into rainbows and glitter.
Oh, thank God. 'Cause my next question was, how do I make you go away?
All right. Well, we could have asked important things, but okay.
That thing
Dave,
would have only answered questions about itself. I promise you. And not even like informative questions about itself. Just
Mhm.
like how did you get your mane so silky? And shit like that.
Yeah. What's your fur care routine?
What's my what? Oh, I heard. Never mind.
Fur care routine?
Yeah, I figured that out.
Anyway, now that Erky has done that, has everyone prayed now?
Yeah. If you call what I did praying.
It was close enough. It was more communing, but yeah. Anyway, would you all like to head upstairs? I also
Yes.
love how Brian had to
Sure.
chime in because he was just as annoyed as Dave was with Adonis.
Yeah.
I want to be in the bathroom for a minute. I'll have my headphones on, but I might not reply because I have a fan in my bathroom.
Okay. So, as you all walk up the stairs, you notice that there's no real windows or anything, nothing looking outside. So you don't know where you are per se. But it seems to be a very cozy little home. It's not. It's definitely like one person lives here. It's very clear he doesn't have guests often, as you see. It is it is a little messy, but he is still a cleric. You know, clerics are kind of clean, so he does keep well kept on his stuff. And as you all walk up, you notice that his face is normal. And the rot from the previous encounter is gone. And you can now tell very clearly he's got long, flowing blonde hair, and he is angelic. His skin and eyes are angelic in nature because he is an Aasimar. An Aasimar, clearly.
Asimir.
Aasimir, is that what it is? I don't know. You guys know what I mean.
I believe that's what it is. Can I
right,
make an
so-
He's an
insight check?
ass?
Can I make an insight check about it? Is his like how he looks like deterred on how much mana he's used? Possibly.
You wouldn't know.
Oh, okay. I mean, that was the okay.
I honestly
would
thought
not.
it was just the cost of using divinity or divine spells for him.
Yeah, the mana. That's why. Yeah.
To echo one of the first things I asked him previously, what's going on with your face and stuff?
And he looks at you, and he suddenly is much more expressive. He actually smiles very gently and very warmly, and he says, "There were times before the way modern society is, for many, many centuries after the Great War, that me and people with my blood were trying to understand things and went about it the wrong way. Therefore, me and my siblings' bloodlines are tainted, and though we are all able to use, tap into the divine power of our great, our great grandfather Theodore Macon, it now, and unfortunately for any of our kin, will take a very nasty toll that it wouldn't have before. I guess you could say simple experimentation without thinking of consequence. So, I mean, if you prefer it, and you see he sort of waves his hands, and the illusion over him goes away, and he is grotesque.
I mean, I figure just whatever you're most comfortable with. I don't know.
And he goes, I appreciate that. And he waves his hand again, and the illusion of him being, you assume, before whatever made him like that, is back.
Interesting.
He is still that tall, though. He's actually taller than his ceiling goes, so he sort of like hunches over when he's walking
Well, that
in
must
his
be
house.
annoying.
But you do notice he has, despite not having any chairs because he doesn't really have company, he has set up enough cups of tea for all of you. And he's even set up
Cool.
a couple of food and water dishes on the floor for Felix and Murder.
Cool.
Cool. Oh, that's some tea.
I am going to cast Tensor's floating disc, and it's basically
What
just
is-
a.
Oh my god.
Why?
So it's a spell that
What
creates
a
a circular horizontal
fucking-
plane of force 3 feet in diameter and 1 inch thick that floats 3 feet above the ground in an unoccupied space of your choice you can see within range. The disc remains for the duration and can hold up to 500 pounds. I'm going to make this disc, and then I'm going to sit on it, and I'm going to enjoy my tea.
I see. Okay. Sure. All right. You kind of make a wheelie chair that can sit a few people on it if they wanted to sit back to back with you. And he so he looks at you guys and he says and he sort of takes a sip of his tea and he breathes out deeply and he says he sort of like pounds his fist on his table more gently than you'd assume he's capable of given his size and demeanor. But, you know, he pounds his fist on his table and he says, that damn King Malremark, what was he thinking?
Sounds like he didn't really care about the dragon to me. Sounded like he just wanted to show
I could
he had
tell
power over everyone
on their
else.
faces from my probing comment, he was the only one that was all for their actions. He seemed angry that the comment I made even questioned it a little bit, whereas the others showed at least regret of some kind.
He sort of stands up and he says, be careful what you say. I have diplomatic immunity, you do not. But
I also have a question. So the barrier. I thought you guys were like putting up like a permanent barrier or like a barrier that would last a while. It was just for when he breathed acid. So what was the point of like attacking him if like
he says that's
what
just
was the
it.
point?
That's just it. We were supposed to the barrier was supposed to be up and finished before his breath attack. We didn't finish.
I see.
That dragon, according to all of the history books and all the knowledge and the intervals from the last couple times we barely staved off his breath attacks, he shouldn't have been able to do it again that quickly. Even a dragon as large and powerful as that should have a recharge time. And if he didn't, why was he waiting so long between the first few intervals?
What if it was to get the God
Nonetheless.
Chosen all in one place?
Or a
And he looks to you
distraction.
and he says, all of you, and he says, all very, very possible theories. Just that, though. And he seems sort of frustrated, and he looks and he says, you should all know, I was against the dome from the beginning. But it's a shame. Malremark, I've known him since he was born. I knew his grandfather. We were good friends. He was such a nice kid. Even when up till recently, I would have said he's been a much better king than his father, which, granted, wasn't a very high bar. Pretty sure the only one old enough to remember him might be you, little goblin. And he points to Urki.
Has
Urki,
anyone ever told you it's impolite to talk about a woman's age?
He sort of chuckles and he says, when you're as old as I am, it's not impolite anymore.
Well, I'm not quite there yet, so.
And he seems to enjoy the banter. And like I said, he seems to be more expressive and much more of a person now that he's just with you, God Chosen. And he says, so, I'm assuming you all decided to stick around?
Yep.
That's the plan.
Since no one's... Okay. He looks and he says, well, I do not know, then, when I'll be able to help you. I have to stay here to do cleanup. Not looking forward to it. Nonetheless, you are God Chosen. You, for all intents and purposes, should have the potential to grow just as powerful as I am. If not more so.
The Urki perks up at that comment.
So, despite your current lack of ability, I will put my faith in you, as today you showed you will help, no matter the danger. And that was honorable. I'm assuming you're all aware that the dragon wasn't alone.
Yeah, there was things with it that flew.
Yeah.
Correct. It appears that there were other beings that I'm assuming awakened the dragon. What I'm about to tell you cannot leave this room. And the only people you may discuss it with are the gods and other Macons. Do I make myself clear?
Mm-hmm.
Sir, yes, sir.
I suppose it goes without saying that all of the dragons, all those millennia ago, were not killed off. there were several dragons that were too powerful even for the gods to kill, as before the gods came, the dragons were just as immortal as they are. It is unclear why the immortality of some dragons waned when the gods appeared, while the immortality of others stayed. But nonetheless, what couldn't be defeated was sealed. Me and my kin are tasked with maintaining the seal every day for our entire lives. We fuel our life force into the barriers around them. In hopes of maintaining it. However, when I approached the chamber in which the Great Worm was sealed, the seal was broken. The barrier was gone. And waiting for me was the green Great Worm, known as Keeman. One of the 3 great dragons of old. Other than the ruler of the dragons, the Ruby Dragon, which was slain by Theodore Macon. The three great dragons are the most powerful beings to ever go against the gods. If he is awake, he's going to free the other 2, as well as the other dragons who are sealed. And whoever awoke him, well, they can't be allowed to do that. I don't know how they learned of the seals, but they did. So, that is where you all come in. The other 2 great dragons are sealed in the 2 other major continents. Norvik, the high mountains to the north, and Trongma, the tropical island nations to the south. Of course, judging by what I was able to see, there are several of those beings, and they all headed in different directions. It seemed that several of them were heading to the outlier continent, to the outlier country of Navarre, and I saw several of them going to Norvik. I assume to the Underdark, as the largest entrance to the underground is in Norvik. In total, I counted 7. There may be more. No matter, they must be stopped. I can transport you all to the nearest travel hub, where you'll have to secure travel to wherever you decide to go first. But that is the end of the assistance I can offer you for now.
Mm-hmm.
So, talk amongst yourselves. I will be here when you decide.
So what do you guys think?
If you guys have questions about nations or anything like that, or locations, you can ask me. Again, I said Norvik, Trangma, Underdark, and Navarre.
Underdark is always fun.
There are other locations I didn't mention.
If we're looking
Is it
for places,
Norvark where I'm from?
Norvik is where you're from, yes.
Norvik, yes.
we're
I'm
looking
from
for places
Trogdor.
of potential support. The Underdark, we could very likely be on our own, but if we go to Trogma or Norvik, their
I would like-
leaders didn't seem to necessarily agree with the decisions that Mellermark made after the fact.
I'd prefer Trogma, because
Keep in mind, you all have met the ruler of both Norvik and Trongma.
Yeah.
So
I'm saying those are the two places we could likely get their support. The Underdark is the only place where we're kind of on our own.
yeah, it'd be fun though, right?
I mean, maybe. I haven't heard many good stories from the Underdark.
you guys also have,
yeah, I know.
if you have questions about, like he mentioned, the outlier nation of Navarre. There's also, I have other places in mind, but those are sort of the 4 I have planned, like immediately. I'd have to do more work for others, which can be done. It's totally
I mean,
up
if
to you
we've got
guys.
preference with Trongma works for me.
I was to say, my family
might have
lives.
something to say about Trongma. Yeah.
I was to say, my family lives in Trongma, and we have some ties. I've at least met him a few times with the Storm General, or the Sea General. The Black Dew family would more than likely be willing to help us.
All right.
Sounds like
Oh.
Trongma.
Sounds like Trongma.
Trogma sounds good.
I guess so.
All right. Then Reese looks at you and he says, "Good luck, God chosen. And for what it's worth anymore, Godspeed." And he waves his hand, and just like how you got here, you sort of phase into a bright white light, and you appear on a beach. I believe the only person who would have been here is probably maybe Erky. Dave, I'll let you decide if Erky's been here or not.
No, Erky hasn't been here.
Okay. Erky and Ashfor, obviously. So Ashfor, you know this to be simply named Border Beach. Border Beach, the water is officially considered Trongma. So the beach where the water hits the sand is the end of Aldea. Down the coast, you see a very large ship, which Ashfor you recognize to being the General Storm's personal ship that he travels on with the Sea Military. And that is and you see several other ships that you assume are part of the fleet that brought the Navy here. Yeah, that's about it. You see all the ships, you see the beach. You also know that you're on the other side. You're right on the other side of that mountain range from where the dragon was.
You think they'll give us a ride?
I guess you'll have to
We had
find
a-
out in the next session. Yay!
Oh. All right.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock, so that's session wrap up.
All right.